watch
How?
this?
How?
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 Ew, how do you watch this? Dude, I'm gonna pee my pants.
Hi, you're listening to How Do You Watch This, a movie review podcast where each week
Yeah.
we recommend a movie in the genre we love, but they don't. I literally, as I'm reading it, I'm like, don't fuck that up. Don't like lisp it, but girl, and I fucking did. All right.
I mean, yeah.
My name is Demi, and I love horror.
My name is Megan, and I love romance.
And this week, I had Megan watch The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Possibly the most important horror movie.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's definitely. There were a couple things. Okay, there was one thing that happened, and I was like, so the part where they're screaming, "The power of Christ compels you." I was like, that's why everyone yells that all the time.
Yeah.
I thought people were just being silly.
No.
But they say that for probably 5 minutes. They just say the power of Christ compels you repeatedly. So
it's, at that point, it's all they had.
yeah, exactly.
It's priests were shitting themselves. I don't blame them. So
I'm glad I watched it, but it's very 70s. It's very 70s. And has there been a remake of this?
No.
Okay. I do feel like this is one that could be remade.
Yeah. So there is a reboot happening. But it's not I didn't know remakes and reboots were different things.
Yeah.
Apparently a remake is like remaking. Reboot is like it's the same aura, but it could be like different characters and stuff. It's just like
okay, so kind of like how you said Pet Sematary this time around was like a different character was the dead child.
Yeah. So it's like that. So I'm like, okay, and it's being directed by the guy who did like Haunting of Hill House and all that. So I fully trust his vision, and I think it's going to be really good. Okay. But I think it's also one of those movies where like because of what it was, I don't think people want to remake it because of that. But it is based off of a book.
Because of the subject matter, or because of like iconicism?
Like how big it was and like everything surrounding it. I think people just don't want to like touch that, which is fair, But I do agree. I think it could do well with some sort of reboot. Or there was a sequel recently. So there's like 2 sequels, I think, or 3. I never watched. I watched the most recent one. It was fucking ass shit. Like it was like it was awful. I can't even explain. It was just like really like so boring.
Cool.
And so bad. And I was like, how do you like fuck up this bad with an exorcism? With like a possession movie. At least like there'll be some interesting things, even if the plot's bad. But like it was like all bad. And so that sucked. So I was like, oh well.
Low expectations, basically.
Yeah, don't watch watch that movie. I forgot what it's called, like New Beginnings or some shit.
Yeah, okay.
God awful.
I'll cross it off the list. I obviously had it on.
Don't watch it. Don't bother. Don't bother ruining your fucking day. But yeah, so please give us a short little rundown of the movie.
So The Exorcist is rated R. It was made in 1973. Well, it was released in 1973, so definitely an oldie. It was 2 hours and 2 minutes, so it was very long. It was very freaking long.
I did not remember this movie being this long. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was a little. Long. It was like unnecessary. Yes,
please. It's not. Why is it this long?
As I was watching it, I just kept being like, that's a 2 minute. You could have cut those 2 minutes. That whole scene could have cut.
Yep.
Could have cut. Just unnecessary content left, right. It's a psychological horror, although it could also fit under body horror. I wasn't really sure, but I'm leaning more towards psychological horror.
Supernatural.
Yeah. Supernatural would have been a better one. I'm gonna do that one. It's a supernatural horror. We're gonna go with that. Let me just change that in my doc.
It's psychological for many people involved.
I know. I've heard that there's a lot of trauma with the filming.
Yeah.
And the director was William Friedkin. Okay, so this movie. So basically, the movie is really told in the beginning has these different storylines that are like switching between. So we're in northern Iraq. There's like an excavation going on. And during this excavation, there is a priest there and he sees this like fancy, strange coin. And it's like this like demonic looking artifact. It doesn't like make a lot of sense what's happening here. And then you just don't hear about that priest again for about an hour and 20 minutes.
Yes. Literally does not come up until the end.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're like, I'm a little confused, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
So then we're in Georgetown, which I believe is DC, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so they're in DC. And we're going through the storyline of the main characters-ish. It's the woman, her name is Chris. She's an actress, and her daughter, Reagan. They have some employees because she's clearly a very talented actress and makes a lot of money, because there's no way you have 3 employees otherwise. But, whatever. She's got like a housekeeper. She's got like a butler man. And then I'm assuming an assistant.
I think it's an assistant. Yeah.
So we see her storyline. And then at the same time, we also have the storyline of a priest. So I'm going to try not to jump back and forth too much between them and kind of tell it solidly. So bear with me. If this is really horrible, I'll just delete it. I'll delete myself. You know what I mean? Just
delete the whole breakdown. It's just your review at the end.
Exactly.
And that was The Exorcist, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Okay. So we are getting the background of this woman, Chris. She has some noises happening in her attic. She thinks it's rats. She is recording her like movie that she's in, and she walks home. And I just have to mention this because there are 2 times in this whole movie that you have weird, creepy music, and none of them are around when there's weird, creepy things happening. It was literally like she's walking home from recording for the day. So literally, I feel like I'm watching an old school Halloween, and someone's about to jump around the corner and like chase her, but nothing happens.
It really is like it's played. It's creepy. It's a creepy theme, but it's only played when nothing's really happening.
Yes,
so.
Yeah. I think the only other time it plays is at the very end.
Yeah,
and I was like, what? What?
That song creeped me out.
Yeah,
before I saw the movie, I heard that theme and I was like, I don't like this.
No, it's a creepy sound. It's a creepy noise. Like some sounds together just happen to be super creepy.
70s, they're really good at creating the creepiest freaking music.
Yeah,
so
they did a great job. Yeah, so we're getting a taste for the relationship between mother and daughter. Daughter is 12 years old. She's begging for a horse. She's being like silly and goofy. They're like chasing each other around the house, whatever. Reagan shows the mom that, there happens to be a Ouija board in the house, which I was like Demi's favorite.
This movie stemmed my fear of Ouija boards.
Is it?
It did, yeah.
Okay. So Reagan shows the mom, and they're kind of like joking around and laughing, and the mom is thinking that like everything going on with the Ouija board is like it's just the daughter playing around with her. So the daughter asks, do you want like my mom to talk to you? And it moves to no. And the mom was like, what the heck? Like laughing around about it. And then they're like, oh, that's Captain Howdy, which is like a silly kind of name. So you're like, it's not really real, but you can kind of tell that the puck is what's it called? It's not a puck. It's called a
planchette.
Thank you. The planchette is moving on its own, and you can tell that, and the mom's not paying super close attention, so she doesn't realize that. And the daughter is sharing that she's kind of suspicious of this relationship between the mom and like her director. His name is Burke Dennings. And she's sharing that like, it's okay if the mom wants to date her. They're kind of like teasing and joking around. I think all this is showing is like, hey, there's this character named Burke Dennings. He's part of their life. And
they showed him like in the beginning a little bit with the mom.
Right.
During the filming of the movie, and then like they show him a little bit here and there, but
he's kind of sucks.
Like a dweeb.
Yeah. So the dad is out of the picture. Mom, like, can't get a hold of him. He's in Europe somewhere and is just, deadbeat. The daughter is claiming that her bed is shaking. There's still noises in the attic. And things are kind of like strange, but nothing specifically massive is going on. We're just like getting the beginnings of that. Meanwhile, I'm going to switch to the other storyline now. So there's a priest father, Damien Karras, and he seems to be having like deep heart-to-heart conversations with people. It does not really making sense what's happening. He seems like he isn't really enjoying being a priest or something. He's like walking by this homeless man who asks for money, and he doesn't give that guy money, which is like, I don't know, not very priestly.
Yeah, not very cool of you.
Yeah, not very nice. So then he goes to take care of his mommy, and she's elderly, and he gives her money. So we see his priorities, which, I mean, honestly fair. But, yeah. I mean, I would give my mommy money too. So, but he tells one of his priestly brethren that he doesn't want to do the job anymore. He doesn't think he's fit. He thinks he lost his faith. At the church, there's funny things happening. We see that the Virgin Mary is defiled. And I'm sorry I laugh, but it's just this one random scene where the Virgin Mary has like bloody boobs. And it's... Yeah. That's it. And it's mentioned one other time.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of like subplots, and the book I hear is very good. I haven't read it, but I plan to. But I think there's like a lot more explained in the book, obviously. So there's just like little snippets where I'm like, okay, like, yeah, I guess that's okay.
Sure.
Probably didn't have to be in the movie, but whatever.
No, and even now, like retrospectively, like anyway, looking back on it, it was not necessary. There was no reason. Like, what are they implying, that the daughter went and defaced it? Are they saying that there's a cult of demon worshippers? Are they just like, it happened by magic?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Demon is out there just causing havoc, I guess. Yeah, he's naughty boy Pazuzu.
So the priest's mom is put in a psych ward by her brother, and the priest is like really upset about it. He's super upset, doesn't like it. We end up finding out that his mom dies shortly after this, and he's really sad, obviously. Okay, now we're switching back to Chris and Reagan. So Chris is throwing this party, this extravaganza, and Burke Dennings is being like an actual asshole. He's calling the butler a Nazi, and he's like drunk and harassing, and I'm just like, you're lame. Like,
he's
what?
Like the worst guy. And I'm like, why would Reagan be like, it's okay to date him? I feel like this dude sucks.
No, he sucks. Yeah, there's no, and I don't honestly know why Chris would let that drunk man around her daughter. Right. I know that she's like, oh, he's lonely. Like, I feel bad for him. No.
I don't care.
Go find someone else to bother. Yeah. There's a lot of priests nearby, apparently. Go talk to them.
We're just surrounded by fathers.
Right, right. There was one at the party. I don't know why. There was a priest at the party, and I'm pretty sure. Now, this is not very nice of me because it's a little stereotypical. But in my headcanon, I really feel like this priest joined the fatherhood because he couldn't live his best gay life. I feel like that's what he wanted. Because he's playing the piano and singing, and that doesn't make him gay. But he says that his idea of heaven is an all-white nightclub where he plays music all day and everyone's there cheering him on. And I was like, I'm sorry. I just feel like it's a little coded.
Just like a little fruity.
Yeah. Maybe not, all the way or whatever, but I love representation. So I'm always looking for ways for us to, support the LGBTQ community. And, for me, I feel like they all just welcomed a gay priest into their home.
It's just like our own headcanon about this random priest. So he joined because he was gay.
There was like one point in in the movie where I got really excited. I thought he was about to have like an intimate relationship, like the two priests were about to like fall in love and have a moment.
Ooh, I would have actually really liked that.
I know. Like he comes to visit him at night, and it's like he goes to visit Father Damien, and he like brings alcohol, and he's like comforting him, and he like tucks him in, and I was like, I thought there was like a lingering touch, and I was like, oh, they love each other.
So, like, what are we?
And I was like, oh my God, I love this for us. Debbie didn't say this was an LGBTQ movie, but I love it.
You know, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
So anyway, in my mind, he's in love with Father Damien.
There's something about Father Damien. I don't know.
There is. He's got a little. He's very like Rocky Balboa and like moody, and you know he walks like the weight of the world's on his shoulders.
Yeah.
So maybe he can fix him. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. You know, he's just like sad. He just needs a little
little love. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's not the terror this movie takes. So up until this point, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm enjoying myself. I was like, this is fun. Like, where's this going?
Things are calm. This is pretty cool.
I was excited for what ended up happening and hopeful, and I forgot it was a horror movie. So
yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't live my girly pop dreams. So Reagan wakes up during the party and she goes downstairs and she tells this man, you're going to die up there. And she pees on the carpet in front of everybody. And so this is kind of when we learn that there's some stuff going on with the daughter that is kind of building up. And this whole movie is set on a timeline. We don't know how much time is passing, but you're getting the idea that time is passing quite rapidly. Like we are moving. So I
do wish that was done better because, like, it's a blink and you miss it. Like, oh, there's time that's passed. I wish there was more. I don't know.
Yeah, because by the end, I'm like, how much time has passed when they're doing the Exorcist?
Yeah.
I'm wondering about the timelines. And
how long
you
it
have
takes for Reagan to get to that point.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. Maybe the books explain.
I would hope. So the doctor has said that she has a nerve, like she just has nerves or anxiety or whatever, and she has pills to be prescribed. And then Reagan starts screaming, and the bed is like actually violently shaking. So you know at this point, like that's not her
anxiety
doing that. Yeah, that bed is moving on its own. It is violently shaking. So they take her to she's going to doctors, tons of doctors. She's getting a shot. She calls the doctor a, quote, fucking bastard, unquote. The doctor's just lighting it up in the hospital, smoking while telling the mom that there's probably a lesion in the daughter's brain and that she needs to get scans. They're going to find out where this scarring is on the brain and they're going to excise it and she'll be back to normal. So I wrote, I hate this doctor shit. This was really rough, and it would have been my deleted scene had what you know is going to be my deleted scene, which there's no way you don't know what it is, but if that hadn't happened, this would probably be it.
Yeah, this scene was really bad so they were like, when people were seeing this in theaters, there were like ambulances called for people because people were passing out.
No way.
They were like panicking, and this scene was like mostly what triggered people. And to be honest, it is like,
it's horrible.
I hated the scene.
I was like, watching it through my fingers like this. I mean, I know that like medical whatever has advanced a lot in the time since this movie was made. So I'm like, that's good. I'm glad that it's not like not quite like that. I don't know why they had to they had to insert into her jugular.
Yeah.
And the way, okay, I don't think that this happens. And I pray to God this isn't what happens anymore. But the blood is just spurting across the room. I'm sorry. It's just this like, needle. Yeah.
It felt so unprofessional. And I was like,
yes.
Oh, what?
He's just calmly, as blood just splashes. That's definitely not the way, I can't imagine that's the way it's done now. He inserts the world's longest needle into this little girl's neck. It's a crime against humanity.
Everything. It's like,
yes,
you're watching the whole thing.
No reason.
Real time.
in this movie, that switches scene to scene to scene to scene so quickly that sometimes you blink and you miss it. They make us watch all of this.
Oh.
All of this. And then, of course, it's like horrible. So she has a gigantic needle in her neck. They're taking blood from her. And then these gigantic machines start shaking above her, and they're loud and terrible.
And they have to like tape her head so she doesn't move her head too much. And I was like, bro, I am like, this is the,
It's too much. It's too much. She's sobbing or whatever. I mean, duh, obviously. The mom is a wreck, of course. So, you know, it has to be really bad to put her through all these testing because no one would ever put their child through this without being psychotic if they had other options. The mom does not feel like there's options. And guess what? Everything keeps coming back normal. And yet they keep putting her through more and more scans.
Yeah, I mean, you think about Reagan at the beginning compared to like just this point where it is like a completely different person. I understand the mom being worried, like, what the hell is happening to my angel perfect daughter?
Yeah.
Who's like now screaming and is a bitch
and using demonic like tone, like deep voice, and then calling people horrible names and saying horrible things. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So we learn that Burke Dennings was supposed to be watching the girl, and he went MIA. He's not there, and then we find out he ended up dying. They believe he died on the way home from her house because he was drunk and he fell down the staircase. That's what the hypothesis is at this point in time. We have a homicide detective who joins, who has like the bare minimum role, and
he's there for like a reason.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. He doesn't really matter. But we do learn from him that Denning's head was in fact facing backwards when he was found on the ground. And he thinks it's a homicide. A very strong man who killed him.
Can you imagine falling those steps and your head just turns all the way?
No. Could you imagine finding that? No.
I know. Oh my God. I wouldn't recover. If I found a dead man and his head was turned all the way, oh my God.
No,
dude.
Sedate me. So then the doctors, there's like a room full of doctors, and Chris is trying everything she can. And they don't have any other ideas except that they could try an exorcism. They said that maybe the daughter has some sort of belief or a suggestion, and the performance of a ritual will convince her to drop this facade. She will feel as if, you know, whatever mental thing has been lifted. So they're saying it's like a psychological move, not an actual thing that's going to happen. This comes up. This is the only other time we see this weird little statue from the beginning of the movie, but it's found at the bottom of the steps where Burke died, is that little one of the little uncovered statues from the beginning of the movie. The detective shows up to Chris's house and shares with her that he thinks Burke fell or was pushed from the window of her daughter's room. And this is kind of when she realizes that her daughter probably killed this man. No, this isn't the exact moment she realizes, but she eventually comes to realize her daughter probably killed this man. Then the guy like asked her for an autograph, and I thought that this was a weird way to get her fingerprints. I really did, but that is literally the whole point of that interaction, was that he's like obsessed with her work.
Yeah.
He's like, my daughter wants your autograph. And she's like, what's your daughter's name? And he was like, you caught me. It's for me.
Can you imagine like this poor woman, and how insensitive do you have to be like, real quick, can I get your autograph?
Like,
bro, you are like not assuming, but like there's a chance that this girl killed this man, and you're just like, hey, I don't care what you're feeling right now. Yeah. I just need this for myself.
Exactly. Well, because in his mind, there's no way a little girl could do that murder. I don't think that he ever would have thought that.
But still, it's the 70s, you know?
Yeah.
But
you literally he said a strange person probably broke into your home, pushed Burke out the window while your sickly daughter was in bed next to them watching.
Yeah.
Can I have your autograph? No.
Like shitty detective work, too. Why the fuck would that even happen?
No. So this is my deleted scene, this upcoming one. Shocker.
Shocker.
All right, so things are flying around the room. Screaming's happening. There's loud noises. Chris goes in and sees that Reagan is impaling her sacred space with a crucifix.
With a sacred item.
With a sacred item, screaming vulgarity, essentially saying like that it's the demon speaking to Reagan, saying that he wants her to use the crucifix in a sexual manner on her body to defile it. And she's denying that possibility. And then the demon grabs Chris's head and shoves it into the sacred parts, and blood is everywhere. And then the head turns around 360. 180.
It turns around.
It turns around. It turns around. It does what humans don't do. What owls do. Owls heads turn. That's what this child's head did. This is a foul scene, and it's unnecessary. And I don't know why it was created when the protagonist is a 12-year-old girl.
Yep.
I get that they're saying, like, it's not really the girl, it's a demon, like, it's different. No, I'm sorry. The line is here, and whoa, you're in outer space.
Too much.
Too much.
That scene is fucking crazy. That, if I was the mom, I would have had to be put into like a ward.
Yeah.
Like I would never recover seeing that. That is insane.
Horrifying. And honestly, this whole time the mom is being like really brave and like, I'm not putting my kid in the psych ward. I'm not putting my kid in the psych ward. Dude, that would have destroyed me. I would have been like, I'm going in a psych ward. You're going in a psych ward. We're all getting watched.
Yeah, we're all going.
Right.
Yeah. Dude, God, this crazy. That scene is fucking bonkers.
Yeah.
And Reagan at this point is looking
rough,
not good.
She's gross looking
physically.
Yeah, it's like she's like getting cut up and bruised, and like she's oozing green. There's so much neon green, dude.
Oh,
green and fucking horror movies,
dude. The green.
No.
I hated all that. Oh,
yeah.
My God.
Basically, it's, this was the final straw, I guess, where she's like, yep, we're getting an exorcism.
Yeah, it's nothing. What else can you do? I mean, she's seen so many psychiatrists, doctors. Like, nothing's working, and she's getting worse.
This is the only option, and honestly, I would too. I mean, probably one of my first things I would have done was sage the shit out of the house. If weird stuff was happening, I definitely would have saged. I agree. I don't think it would have, like this is a very strong demon. I don't know that sage would have prevented a possession like this, but I definitely would have started with the rituals.
Yeah, I would.
So I'm not,
for sure.
I
would. God, I would have done everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
care what it is.
Her at all. No. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So the father tells Chris that exorcism aren't done anymore, and she cries on him, and like any man in front of a crying woman, he crumbles and goes back to her place. So I wrote, quote, she looks vile at this point, Jesus Christ, because she does. It's just like massively escalating. And then, the demon, the voice of the demon is coming out. It's using that voice from the homeless man who was begging at the beginning. Then there's green bile vomited on him. And I thought this was interesting, and I could be totally off base, but for me, as an art history, major, no big deal. But there, at the very beginning of the movie, when they were in Iraq, they show these stone figures called lamassu, which are basically like winged lions that are protectors of like cities and whatever. It's in ancient stuff. I'm not going to go deep into it. Anyway, they show that at the beginning, and then as the priest is looking at the daughter's drawings, and she has drawn a flying lion, like a lion with wings. And I was just like, ooh, that's interesting. So maybe like I would think that like if I'm correct, which I should be, because if I'm not, they should take on what I'm saying, take some notes, that the spirit was like hanging out for a while she was still present and sentient and kind of like feeding her ideas in certain ways for her to have those ancient like ideas.
I believe that, I think The demon is named Pazuzu, and it's a real demon.
Is it really?
Yeah.
What is with these demons' names? They sound like they're clubs. Okay, guys, you want to go to Pazuzu's tonight?
Let's go to Pazuzu. So it's an Assyrian and Babylonian mythology demon.
Okay, that makes sense because the Lamassu are Assyrian.
Yeah, and it brings famine during dry seasons and locusts during rainy seasons, and he's also the king of the demons of the wind. So her window being open and the wind coming in and stuff. So, all that little stuff. But yeah, no, that was a really good thing you noticed with her drawing. Because
Thank you. And this is my testimony for art history. If you are not interested in art history, you should definitely get interested because you'll like horror movies even better.
You will notice. Yeah, you know what? Horror directors probably appreciate that because I'm sure they always throw in artwork everywhere.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, you don't know. But if you know,
you're welcome.
Yeah, it's like, I know what that means. I get you. I see the symbology. No big deal. Okay.
If there's a science reference, it's going over my head. But art, got you, boo. So he wants the daughter to go to the hospital for observation. Again, this would have been, for me, probably the point when I would have been like, fine, if a priest is saying it and they don't believe in exorcisms or whatever, I get it. Whatever. So the priest goes back. In order for him to be able to move forward with an exorcism, he needs proof. So he goes back, he records the daughter speaking, asking questions. She speaks in tongues and other languages when holy water is used, but what's interesting is that it's not actually holy water, it's tap water. He just said it was holy water and she reacted by screaming. So he's saying to Chris, like, this is not this is not saying it's actual possession.
Yeah.
But Chris is like, I'm almost positive my daughter killed Burke Dennings and that the thing inside of her is not her. Like, I would know her anywhere. Played in reverse, the tape is saying stuff like crazy stuff, such as fear the priest, and the word Marin keeps being repeated over and over. I thought that was going to end up being the mom's maiden name because previously in the movie he asked like, oh yeah, you're a demon, then what's my mom's maiden name, huh? And so I was like, oh, it's going to be the mom's maiden name, but it's not. It's the priest that eventually comes and helps with the exorcism.
Mm-hmm.
There's this weird scene where inside of Reagan's body, it looks like someone is pushing their finger up and writes, help me. Like Reagan is trapped in her body and like drawing on a window, when you fog the window with your breath and draw like that.
Yes. Yeah.
So Damien Karras brings all of this information to the church and they're like, yeah, let's do the exorcism. This sounds good. Let's get Marin in here. This is this other priest. He almost died last time, but we're going to have him come do it this time.
Yeah. The other exorcism he did was traumatizing and took a long time. And he's old now, but fuck it.
Yeah. Screw him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can help though, Damien. Don't worry. So then they're like doing their ritual stuff. There's some highlights are green foam, Marin coughing, the ceiling breaks, the head turns around again, she levitates, her skin spontaneously rips, and they chant repeatedly, the power of Christ compels you. At one point, there is a visual of a demon statue, a different one than the one I keep referencing. Like a demon statue that we saw at the beginning of the movie that shows up in almost like a lightning flash sort of a way. There's like different scene flicks that happen where like her face transforms at certain points. Whatever.
Yeah.
They decide to take a break and then Karras comes back in the room. He sees his mother and then it transforms back into the little girl demon. And then the mom's voice comes through. And Marin's like, you need to leave the room. So Marin starts doing like solo work with it. The detective shows up to the house and that's it. That's the last time we see the detective. That's it. End of story.
Thanks for all your hard work.
Yeah. He just shows up. We see his face through a crack in the door and then they never show him again. Marin is dead. Karras goes into the room. Marin's dead on the bed. The little girl's like cackling. Well, I should say the demon is cackling. Karras attacks the child and starts like wailing on her, like punching her in the face.
You know what? At this point,
right?
She needs to get her ass beat.
she's not.
I get it.
She's not just a little girl. She's a demon, but you know.
It's a piece of shit.
Yeah. So he commands the spirit into his body, and then a necklace falls off of him. And then the spirit goes into his body, and he tries to fight it and jumps out the window. He lands on the ground dead. So death number 3, demon kills 3. And then later on, Sharon goes to Chris and is like, hey, I found this necklace in the room, and it's the coin from the beginning of the movie. And then Sharon gives that to the priest, the other priest, the not dead priest, the secret lover. Yeah. And she's like, she's like, obviously he would want you to have this. He was your lover. I'm aware of this. And gives the priest the necklace. And Reagan remembers nothing about what happens. The priest walks off and the creepy music plays. The end. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the movie. So it's like pretty. The reason why I feel like it would be good if it was remade was that it has so much potential, and there's just so many dropped storylines and like not fully connected like aspects that could have like worked really well if they had melded it. For a 2-hour long movie, this could have been really good, but they like wasted some of their time. Like, there was one whole scene that was just Damien having a nightmare.
And I'm like, I guess they want you to learn more about Damien. And so like when Reagan or the demon's talking to him, you like connect more. Right. But I feel like at that point, not much came up either. And I was like, I just feel like there was so much fluff. But like I said, I think, you know, the book does it better.
Right.
And you get more things fleshed out and things make sense. I wish I read the book before reviewing this, but I'll have to just let you
that's the thing. It's hard.
Time.
If we read the book for each movie we watch, we would not have, we would have to give ourselves months in between episodes.
So I just like, it is good. You know, I think for a 1973 horror movie, I'm like, this is solid. I think a lot of it still holds up well. Like her levitating was really creepy, and I thought it looked really, really good. And a lot of it was just practical effects, like all of it actually. I don't think there was any fucking CGI at that time. So a lot of it does hold up well considering, but it is like, it just like drags in some points, and I'm just like, okay, I'm like, what was that about? And so I don't know. I had a hard time like reviewing this movie.
Yeah, so. It's because I get that there's like a lot of good. And like I get that it. See, this is one of the things that's really hard with reviewing old movies is we don't have that same mindset. It's like my dad, when I was watching, like as an adult watching Star Wars, my dad came in the room and he was like, when this first came out, we were so amazed by the effects. Like they were like, oh my God, we're in space. And then you see it now and it's like a little figure moving across a black expanse. And you're like, that's not great.
I cannot imagine watching this movie when it came out.
Right.
This movie,
it must have been terrifying.
Been horrifying. Like this, I feel like I would have been possessed. Like I probably would not have watched this movie. I would have been too scared of getting something attached to me.
Right. I think it would have scared the shit out of me if I was in 1973.
Yeah. So I try to like, I think it deserves its credit.
Yeah.
You know, but
you know, we now know what. I mean, and I'm sure maybe in 20, now let's see, how long has it been? 50 years. Maybe in 50 years, shit, that's a 50-year-old movie. Maybe in 50 years, people will be like, they thought Talk to Me was scary.
Yeah.
Like, that shit's so basic.
There's definitely going to be movies where it's just, like they're scary like, now, and then 50 years later, it'll be like, what the fuck?
Exactly. So I'm like, I'm sure that there's some ways, but in like knowing what our modern film is like, it does. I don't feel very impacted by this. I'm sure at the time it was massively influential.
Oh, yeah. This movie was very scary for my mother. She was like, it's the scariest movie I've ever seen ever. And, you know,
and
now
here I am laughing hysterically at it, you know.
Yeah, but like I said, this movie, when I first watched it, it really, Ouija boards after this freaked me out. I was like, I'm not fucking with Ouija boards. I'm not trying to have what Reagan had.
Yeah.
And there is a deleted scene, so there's an extended version, and there's a deleted scene, and this scene creeped me out. And it's basically Reagan crawling down the steps, like, backwards, and she crawls down the steps and, like, vomits blood. And that scene freaking creeped me the fuck out.
Dude.
And it was done with, what do you call it? What do you call those people that are flexible? Oh my God. Contortionists on wires. And they removed the scene because they weren't able to remove the wires at that time.
Oh my God.
But they added in much later. So you can watch that version.
Really?
You can watch it on YouTube. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And it's a quick scene, but like it was creepy.
No.
I don't like it. But he also removed it because he felt like it was too early. Like it was too crazy, too early. So he wanted a more gradual progression of Reagan's fucking craziness. But yeah, that was one scene that really like just fucking stuck in my mind out of all the scenes in this freaking movie.
What a nightmare.
But yeah, I have a lot to.
I know you do.
Movie,
I know you do. I'm sure. I think
I
will say I did for some reason. I thought this movie had a scene where there was like a wall of crosses that got turned upside down. That must be a different horror movie because that didn't happen here.
Yeah,
maybe it's like Rosemary's Baby or something. I don't know, but
maybe something similar.
I don't know, something spooky. What was I gonna say? Oh, I think I've heard like a lot of like creepy things that happened on set. So I feel like you're going to give me some creepy things that happened on set.
So yeah, there is, the people that worked on set thought the set was haunted. And one big thing that happened on set was this fire. So the house, the main house caught on fire mysteriously. They don't know how. And the only room that was untouched was Reagan's room. And after that, a priest was called on set to bless the set to help crew members feel at ease. And that would have really messed me up. I would be like, I'm not working on this movie.
No.
There were 2 people that were in the movie that died soon after the movie was released. And they died of like natural causes, but it was still like creepy because they had, so it was the actors Jack McGroran, Vasiliki Maliaros, and they were written to have on-film death scenes, and they ended up dying shortly after the movie was done.
So which are they?
So it was Burt Dennings was the one actor, and the mother.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the one doctor or the one extra that assisted the doctor in that horrifying scene, named Paul Bateson, he was convicted of murder.
I've heard this before.
So convicted of murdering a film critic named Addison Verrill and was sentenced to 20 years. And it is thought that he was potentially the bag murderer also at that time, which was someone who killed 6 men who like he met in like gay bars and would have sex with them and then murder them and dismember their bodies and put them in plastic bags. And so there was never enough evidence for that. But so that's crazy that this man was working here. So that was another creepy thing that happened. Linda Blair is the actress who played Reagan. She was 14 in this movie. And there was so much like sacrilegious things that there was just a lot of people against her specifically for playing this role, even though she was like a child. So they said that she was promoting Satan or whatever, and she had a ton of death threats at this age. So she had to have a bodyguard for 6 months after to make sure she wasn't fucking killed. But that's like really sad.
That's really scary.
But yeah, she went through a lot with this movie. So both her and the mother actress were injured during this movie. The scene where the mother gets thrown back ended up falling on her coccyx because the stuntman like pulled the wire like too hard, and it led to permanent chronic spinal damage.
Oh my God.
Her scream in that scene was like her actually being hurt, and the director kept it in like this fucking scumbag.
Oh my God.
That fucked her up. And then the scene with Linda Blair where the bed is shaking and she's like moving like this, she fucked up her back really bad and was diagnosed with chronic pain and scoliosis. So imagine that at 14. And it kept her actual scream of her like suffering that.
That's horrible.
The director was not a cool guy.
Yeah, we don't like him.
Yeah, we don't like him. So like these poor women really went through it, and little girl.
Yeah. And he kept apart 2 gay priests who obviously loved each other.
Yes. The vomiting, they ended up using pea soup for it. And that's how you got that like
green
texture.
color.
The scene where Reagan vomits onto Father Karras's like face was accidental. It was supposed to be on his chest.
No.
And so it was on his face. So his reaction was like genuine.
That's amazing.
And he was like really upset about that.
Yeah, fair enough, dude. If you don't know that someone's about to spit on your face, yeah.
Yeah, no, it is awful.
Man, she's like a good little actress too, to be like dealing with all of that which she was being put through. Oh my God, I hope she got paid a shit ton of money.
I know. She ended up having like, she's okay now, but she went through like a phase where she was like really addicted to drugs and shit, which makes sense because she went through a lot.
Yes, that's a lot.
So there is an original teaser trailer, and I looked it up, and it's like really scary. I would have been really upset seeing this, which was just nearly nothing but images of a white-faced demon just quickly flashing in and out, and like Reagan's demon face like just flashing in. And it was banned in a lot of theaters because it was like too scary. And I'm like, that's horrifying.
I'm not surprised.
Like, that's so fucking scary. The person who did the demon voice, her name is Mercedes McCambridge, and she did some crazy shit to get this voice. I don't like, she went too hard, but it worked. She insisted on swallowing raw eggs and chain smoking to alter her vocals. And she wanted to drink whiskey, knowing that the alcohol would distort her voice. She insisted on giving up her sobriety for this.
Shut
and
up.
She had her priest like there to counsel her during the recordings. And so then she was also bound to a chair with like a torn sheet like at her neck and arms and wrists to get the more realistic when Reagan was strapped up. And I'm like, girl, what the fuck?
Dude, you do not have to do that. Why did you go so hard, bro?
Yeah, and the director was like terrified by
that's
the lengths she was going for this. And it's unfortunate because Linda Blair received a Best Supporting Actress nomination for this before it was widely known that Mercedes did the voice for Reagan. Because at first they were keeping it like kind of secret that there was another voice. Even obviously there was another voice.
It was
Why the fuck would you think?
That is not that girl's voice.
So,
dude.
Yeah, so Linda Blair received, like, it was nominated for that. And then the movie itself was also the first horror movie to be nominated for Academy Award Best Picture. So this movie really set the stage for horror movies to be seen more seriously. And it was, like, really the first horror movie to get nominated for awards. When it was originally released in the UK, there were town councils that banned the showing of this film because they were just like, it's supporting Satan. It's just like a demon movie, which is fair.
I'm not surprised that people were outraged by it.
I don't think there were any movies at all that covered this type of topic really at the time. I forget what year Rosemary's Baby came out, but just the idea of like possession. So I get it. But this led to something called Exorcist bus trips, where travel companies organized buses to take people to towns that were showing the movie so they could
My God.
And then, like I said earlier, so many people were strongly affected. They had to call paramedics to treat people who were fainting. Other people were going to like hysterics. So people
me
crazy.
It would have been me in the 70s.
Yeah, honestly,
probably in a past life, just like that's how I died. Like that. Showing of the Exorcist.
This movie would have been crazy to see in 73.
Get the vapors.
This is the highest grossing Warner Brothers film of all time when adjusted for inflation.
Wow.
It made, I think, like 141 million at that time. So now it's like, I think it was like over $1 billion. Like it would have made in theaters, which is wild. People were just excited for
that's nuts.
Shit. I mean, if you see that teaser trailer, you can be curious.
I do think this is an older. Hold on, let me look. Yeah, this is the oldest movie we've covered. The only one that could be older would be our lost episode with Blood Rage.
Yeah. I don't think Blood Rage is older. No, I think this might be the oldest
I think this is the oldest. So maybe it's just there can't have been very many big horror films.
No, not really. I mean, you have like the classic horror like monster movies, but you know, nothing like this. This was like really fucked, you know, and especially like the topic. It's a freaking 12-year-old girl that's possessed by a gross demon. Like, that's awful.
Yeah, really bad.
This was crazy. I was like, what? Dude. The end scene where the priest throws himself out the window.
Yeah.
Those steps were padded with thick rubber. And a stuntman fucking did that himself to like threw himself down the flight of stairs twice.
What?
His name is Chuck Waters, and he had a bag full of fake blood with like some cuts like on it underneath his sweater. So every time he landed, like the blood would like splurt out.
Why do people keep going so hard on this movie?
Dude, I mean, you probably didn't have much of a choice, you know? Like, CGI wasn't the thing, so it's like, you have to figure it out. But like, Jesus Christ, the stuntman really like, oh, that's impressive. That's horrifying. When I read that, I was like, dude, no way. No way.
My God.
So, yeah, dude, crazy. But yeah, those are the facts I have about this movie.
Oh my God.
Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff.
So crazy. Oh my God. Well, I forgot to say my memorable scene, which was the priest's death at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The jumping from the window. My main character, smash or pass. I mean, it's hard to pick a main character, right? But I'm going to say pass on all of the above. You know, there's a lot of emotional distress. And also Damien, like, he has to save himself for the other priest.
I would say of all of them, maybe Damien.
Maybe.
Something about him.
He just has like a little bit of like, you know, he feels like obviously Rocky wasn't out yet because they would have definitely compared him to Rocky instead of other random boxers that no one has any idea of. But
he was a boxer in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, he was doing like boxing before priesthood, I guess. Like,
I guess so. There was no reason for the boxing stuff to be included. There was just flavor, I guess.
Yeah. It was just goofy.
Yeah. To be silly. Anyway, regardless of whoever it is, pass across the board.
Yeah.
Villain, very obviously a pass. I mean,
Pazuzu is not it.
No. Survival chance? I gave myself a low. I said a 2. I think that this is a very traumatic experience.
Yeah, even if I survived, it's like, do I really survive?
Right. Emotionally, like mentally, no.
Like, thank God Reagan didn't remember what happened.
It's the only way you would make it through. Oh. I even thought like how traumatizing it is for the mother to go through life having seen what she's seen.
Dude.
For the workers who worked with her.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, the assistant. She's like to the assistant, "Are you sure you don't want to work with me anymore?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm sure." Yeah. Well, let me think about it.
I would have moved out of the country. I would have. Oh my God, like that would have changed my mindset on everything.
Yeah.
I would be so scared all the time. Yeah. Of everything.
Yes.
Like, what if that happened to me? What if that happened to someone else?
Because here's the thing, at the end of the day, like, why did this little girl get possessed? I'm trying to figure that out. We saw there were two artifacts at the beginning of the movie that were found in Iraq by this other priest Marin, which you're led to believe it happened recently, and this isn't from like when the last exorcism happened, but we don't know the timelines. So there's 2 items. The first one is found at by the body of Burke, and the second one is on the young priest Damien's neck before it falls off. It was clearly protecting him, and then it fell off, and the demon goes into him. So why is the demon in this girl? It just happened to go into her?
Yeah, I don't know if like the excavation just like helped release the demon, and then he decided to go to fucking Washington, D.C.,
and find a little girl's body.
She was using the Ouija board to like talk by herself, and I guess that opened up
some portals or something
to get something to possess her. But yeah, I'm sure the book explains that much better.
I'm gonna Google it really quick. Hold on.
Go for it.
It's not giving me anything.
Yeah, you know, I will read the book
and let me know.
I'll update you.
Okay, let me know if they give a reason why this random girl is possessed. For no reason. I thought she had to have at least messed around with some demonic statues, but
she messed around with a demonic Ouija board.
Yeah,
and that's why I say
no note to the Ouija boards.
Don't play with Ouija boards, especially by yourself.
Well, yeah, for sure. You can't close that shit out.
At least a 2-person activity.
100%. It shouldn't just be you and the spirit.
You and Captain Howdy.
Right.
Even that name.
I know. It's really cringy.
God, Pazuzu. It's fucking worst.
Yeah. It really is.
All right. Yeah. So, what is it? Just ratings?
Oh, yeah. So, what's your rating?
I'm gonna give it a 3.4. I think it's solid. There are things I like and appreciate about it. I think, it's an important movie for just movie culture, but, there was a lot that bored me. There were a lot of scenes I just didn't think was necessary, and there were like weird plot holes. So, and it was too long, way too long.
Yeah, way too long. Yeah, I gave it a 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I was waffling with it a little bit. I had a hard time because I do understand, but I think it just, for me, it wasn't strong enough. I think it would have been probably 5 in 73, but for me now,
I probably would have rated it higher back then, but
also lost a whole point. Lost a whole point for the deleted scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did get props. I wasn't expecting both priests to die. I wasn't expecting that. So that did surprise me. And that actually pushed it to the 2 range.
I do like that the priest sacrificed himself and killed himself. Yeah. I don't like he did that,
no.
but I like that he was heroic and did that. I think that was cool. So yeah. Sorry, priest.
Sorry, priest.
You know what? He went through a lot, and at the end he
maybe
found his faith back and saved a little girl. So good for him. He found God at the end.
Real bummer. Poor guy.
God, poor guy. Anyway, The Exorcist. Another classic, done with.
Another classic, off my list. You know what? I appreciate these oldies, although I don't appreciate the insensitivity. But
fair.
Whatever. I'm going to write some fanfic now, I think, about the priest.
There has to be stuff out there.
Come on, I can't be the only one who picked up those vibes. It's not just me, is it? I'm always looking for romance everywhere.
No, it couldn't have been. No, of course not.
Come on, how great of a story would that be? Anyway.
It would have. Maybe Mike Flanagan will make it happen in a reboot.
All right, let's see it. Let's see it,
Mike.
So, my choice for you, I wish I could. This is a TV show. I wanted to give you Fleabag so bad because it's about... Fleabag?
I've never seen it, but I know exactly like the priest character. And I kept thinking of that watching this. I'm like, oh, he's like kind of hot.
I know. I was like,
Fleabag priest.
I know. I wanted to be like, Fleabag. Fleabag's your the thing you have to watch, but I can't make you watch Fleabag. So that would be a much longer series. Yeah. So the movie I'm giving you is Clueless.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
No.
Oh, really? I haven't seen it in ages. So for me, it's going to be like watching it for the first time because it's been so long. It's been years.
Excited. This is one I've been wanting to watch. So.
Okay, good. A classic out of the way for you too, then.
I know.
So Clueless is, I don't want to, it's just one of those ones that has a lot that happens in it. So there's a popular girl. Her name is Cher. Oh my God, there's so many through lines. What? Okay, Cher. Sorry, I just realized that could be our connecting thread, would be a character named Cher. So the main character, Cher, is she's a popular girl. She's really pretty and wealthy and all of the great things. Mm-hmm. Whatever. She kind of goes through this growth process in her life of like almost coming of age. She's like trying to set up her teachers. She's making friends with a new girl. She's realizing that there's some shallowness in herself. And yeah, that's really all I'm going to tell you. It's really her journey and her journey with love as well.
Okay.
Also,
I'm excited.
Should I tell you? Do you know who's in it?
Paul Rudd.
Yeah, baby Paul Rudd. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Okay, good.
It's amazing that I haven't seen this movie yet, but...
No. So it is available on some streaming platforms, such as Fubo, which I have a hate relationship with. It's on Paramount as well. And Hoopla and Canopy, depending on what your various libraries. I don't know why that's popping up on my...
Hey, support your library.
Support your library.
Get a library card, and they might have Hoopla or Libby, and you can get access to that. So, all right. Okay. Well, thank you for listening to How Do You Watch This? You can find us on Instagram. I'm like too excited. How Do You Watch This? and TikTok at How Do You Watch, or email us at howdoyouwatchthis@gmail.com. If you like the show, support us by giving us a review or recommending to a friend.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.